Welcome in, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are now officially, hopefully live in the 3-Day EKG Facebook group. And hello, hello. So just before we actually officially get started in 2 more minutes, we're just logging on so that you can find us and hopefully get on Zoom so you can talk to us. Tonight's not mandatory for Zoom, just to let you guys know. Tonight, we're not going to do breakout sessions, so that's good. But it is easier if you want to come off and ask questions. And we are going to do so if you are off mute and you have a noisy background, we're just going to ask that you mute until you have a question, because some people were complaining about that last night. So we'll just make sure we are all good to go. So if you are here with us live on Zoom, I know Jeff already said hi. And Tori's here and she posted the workbook for us. So if you need that, we're going to be going over that again tomorrow. So you have plenty of time. If you don't have it, Jody's here. Welcome in from Cleveland. Ooh, sounds cold in Cleveland. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited to do tonight. And Michelle will be watching the chat for us. But we're going to do arrhythmias tonight. And I'm really excited about this because most of you guys, when you came in the group, we asked you a question: what do you want to learn? And a lot of you said arrhythmias. Hi, Robbie. Hi, Melissa Mainville. So if you're on Facebook and you're not on Zoom tonight, that's okay. But I did want to make sure that everybody knows we do have 2 separate Zooms tonight. 2 separate Zooms. Now, I did post right in before I came on live, I posted in our Facebook group both Zooms. So you'd have them fresh, and I tagged everyone because we're doing a separate bonus session after my class tonight, where we're going to have Gary on, who's going to do the arrhythmia movie. So I'm going to teach you some arrhythmias, and then Gary's going to quiz us. So we'll get practice. So the bad thing about his session, unfortunately, is he doesn't allow us to record. But if you can catch him live, it's worth it. Now, right before we logged on with everybody, somebody was telling us that their little daughter loves to watch Gary when he comes on, and thinks that it's as entertaining as TV. So that's why one of the reasons why we named it the Arrhythmia movie with Gary. So we have a couple bits of unfinished business. So yes, it was Tori's daughter. I didn't know if you wanted me to say, but Tori's daughter, she loves Gary. But I wanted to make sure we let you guys know this is Arrhythmia the movie. It's coming up at 6:15 PST. So I'm going to log off around 6:05, I hope, and get him all ready to stream. We'll be streaming in the group, so you don't have to log on to Zoom. But Gary's great because he's also a nurse of over 32 years, and he loves questions too. So if you want to be on Zoom and ask questions, feel free. We'd love to have you. And then his recording, he requires it to be deleted in the group. So please try to catch it if you can. And then I had a lot of people message me today, so I wanted to answer those questions. If I miss a class, where can I find the replays? So we actually have a replay link tonight. Was broken for a little while, but it's back up now, and that's off Facebook. And so I've been, if you notice, I put a post up today. Does anybody need the link? And I put it in there for you guys, but feel free to message us. And we also post in the Facebook group the recording after it's done in the day. So like last night's is in day 1, so you can go rewatch it there. We also have the workbook. Tori is putting it in the chat on both Facebook and Zoom. So if you still need the workbook, you can get that. And I also posted the answers for you guys in the featured pinned post. So that's the very top of the group, and you can find those there if you missed the answers. And then what's the lineup? So the lineup for tonight is super easy. It's me until about 6:05 doing arrhythmias with you. And then afterwards at 6:15, Gary's going to do about probably 45 minutes, and you don't have to watch all of it. It's just a bonus. But we're going to be doing, he's going to show you like anatomy, how it lines up to the conduction. It's phenomenal. So if you've watched Gary before, either put in the chat on the Facebook or Zoom what you thought. We just love to know your opinion, and it doesn't have to be good, even if it's bad. Just tell us what you thought so everybody has an idea if it's worth staying. And then tomorrow night, we're going to have my session again at 5:30. That'll be our last night. And then at the end of that, we're going to do breakout session again, where we're going to go into groups. We're going to finish the rest of our workbook. Melissa says Gary's awesome. we're going to finish the rest of our workbook, and then we're also going to give away the scholarship tomorrow night. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about that scholarship so that you know if you want to log on tomorrow night live, because that's the only way you'll be entered to win. So the scholarship is going to be a basic EKG course with 8 hours of CE. Whoa, right? We're going to give away a scholarship to that. And we're going to give away, you can attend the live workshop with me this weekend, where I'm going to give away all the answers of who should be sent to the ER and who can wait to cardio follow-up when you have abnormal EKGs. We're going to talk about that in detail. We're going to talk about what the EKG, when it says non-specific ST wave changes, we're also going to talk about what to look for. There's 5 things, and we'll be showing you those in detail. If you win the scholarship, you'll also get our workbook that we're going to go over in that EKG workshop with 17 real EKGs. We'll email that to you, and you can print it out. And we're going to do a color coding exercise of the EKG. And we're going to make the inferior leads a color, the leads fed by the LAD a color. And we're going to talk about how to identify what part of the heart is feeding what. And the great thing is the recordings will be available to you right away of all of it immediately once you win the scholarship. But if you don't win the scholarship and you want to join us, we'll talk more about how to do that tomorrow night. We'll give you the link. But in the meantime, that's kind of the lowdown for the rest of our challenge, okay? And then also, I wanted to make sure we did our day 1 giveaways. So last night we had you put in a hashtag, and we're going to give away some badges. We have 4 badges for giveaway. And these were people who said, hey, they put in the right hashtag. Now, of course, we reward you if you're live. So I'm going to do a quick drawing with the names, and we'll see who our 4 winners are, and then we'll get to class. Okay, so I have my heart bowl out here. So out of the people who entered, I'm going to choose 4 winners. So if you're one of our winners, email me your address or message me, and I will send your winnings. So Tatiana Lucero, you are the first winner of badge 1. So Tatiana, you won one of these. These are made by Gary, who's actually coming on tonight. So our next winner is, and I actually wrote my writing legible this time, Alejandra Molina. So Alejandra, congratulations. You're our next winner, number 2. And winner number 3 is Addie Dune. So Addie Dune, you're number 3. And winner number 4 is Julene Salbert. Okay, so Julene, if you are one of our winners, please go ahead and message me. But those are our 4 winners. So congratulations to you guys. And we'll be doing more giveaways tonight of badges. So don't worry, if you didn't win one, we'll still be giving them away. And let's go ahead and get started with tonight's lecture. Okay, so when we talk about basic arrhythmias, okay, the 3 questions that you want to ask yourself is it narrow versus wide? This is going to come in handy tonight when we do our practice with Gary. Narrow versus wide. So narrow and fast is something like SVT if it's regular. And a wider one, especially if it's regular, would be like ventricular tach, right? The next question you want to ask yourself is it fast versus slow? Okay, do we need to intervene right now or not? We have time to look over the P waves, scan the layout, see what's happening. And then is it regular versus irregular? So these 3 questions will usually get you the answer. Now there's other steps that we want to add in, like for example, is there a P wave? And if this were an EKG where we actually look at, we would know a couple things. So last night we talked about regular versus irregular, okay? And we talked about you go from here to here. This is the R to R interval. That was one of our workbook questions, if you remember. And we looked at regular versus irregular. Now this would be regular, right? Because it has the same R to R interval. We also look at, is it narrow? And this is less than 3 baby boxes. We talked about that, so it's narrow. And then the other thing we're always asking ourselves is there a P wave, right? There is a distinct P wave. And so this is none other than a sinus rhythm, okay? This is what we want to see. Remember we talked about yesterday that a sinus node makes P, sinus makes P wave, okay? So that's first things first. Now, I did put the answers in here really quickly for you guys of the workbook last night. And just to show you like that we did cover this. And we talked about, you know, the waves, we labeled them here. You guys helped me do that. We talked about the fact that the P wave is atrial contraction. And Gary will kind of show us behind the scenes of some of this stuff tonight, so it'll make a little more sense. And then we had, these are all posted in the pinned part of the group, right? So you can find these answers there. But we talked about the PR interval, right? It should be 120 to 200. We talked about the P is measured from the beginning of the P to the R. We talked about ST segments being elevated and depressed, and that's where this tool comes in great. And Gary will show us videos with this red line across it, so you know exactly how to measure ST elevation and depression. And we talked about regular versus irregular. So this is all your answers in your workbook. And then we did some rhythms, okay? So we will find, we will do some more rhythms tonight, right? And then practice with Gary, but this are the ones from your workbook. I picked kind of the harder ones for you. And, you know, knowing that this is AFib because there's no distinguishment made of a P wave, knowing this is sinus arrhythmia because the P to R is normal and there's varying regularity from the R to R. This is not something dangerous. And knowing that if you have a wide, right, it comes from the ventricles, and then junctional is still narrow, but no P. So those are all waiting for you. And we'll do the rest of the workbook tomorrow night together in the breakout sessions. Okay, so let's do some rapid fire. Michelle, I hope that you're able to, I see that Tatiana just logged on with us. So Tatiana, I don't know if you saw, but you're one of our winners. So make sure to message me with your address so I can mail out your winnings. So, okay, let's do the rapid fire. And Michelle, hopefully, I think you're still off Zoom or off mute, so you can tell me the answers so you can see the chat. Oh, I see Ashley has her daughter there. Ashley, I think you have a daughter or a baby there with you, son, daughter. I can't see, but welcome in. And Deanna, we see your lovely face, so yay. Okay, so Megan's here, our cardio queen. Oh, I showed you her picture last night, so she's on Facebook with us, you guys. All right, so rapid fire, type in the chat, and Michelle, help me out with this one. We're gonna show you what it is. I want you to tell me what it is right away, okay? Ready, set, go.
Vchat.
Nice. Is that Asbury? Are you on with me tonight?
Yeah, and you have Marlena had typed in Vchat. She's super fast typer.
Okay, well, I have our wing women, Espree and Michelle here helping us out. So yes, this is Vchat because it's wide, regular, and fast. Okay, let's do another one. Here we go. Here we go.
VFib.
Good.
VFib, lots of VFib and a couple on Facebook too. Oh, everybody's typing VFib.
Okay, Megan just said she's on Zoom with us. So Ruben, are you able to find Megan and take her off mute so she can come say hi? And then also this is 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually that was it. Okay, we had 2. So now we're gonna do the atrial rhythms, but before we do, let's find Megan and maybe Megan can come up and say hi. Where is our Megan?
Hello.
Hi, Megan. So
How are you?
It's so nice to see your face. So
I know.
this is Megan. She's our cardio NP queen. Okay. And if you're in our 30-day challenge or any of our workshops, you've seen Megan. She's been rocking with us for over 2 years. And Megan, do you want to give any like pearls of wisdom to these guys since you're here? We're so happy.
Let's see. Hopefully my pager won't go off during this. I think I've already had 7 pages in an hour and a half since I left the hospital tonight. Because I took call tonight. But practice. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, you learn something every day. There's actually somebody we just saw today that I would have sworn to you the EKG was something and our cardiologist said it was something different. And when he sort of explained it to us, it made complete sense. So I'm going to have to find it for us. But looking at, you know, something that they were questioning an SVT on with this patient and why he was not as confident it was that. And then when we got the patient slowed down a bit, you could actually clearly see it was atrial fibrillation. So, and again, there's always you ask 10 different cardiologists and show them the same EKG and you're probably going to get 12 different answers. So there are many different ways to interpret things out there, but there are some rules or guidelines, so to say, that help you with that. And whatnot. So just keep at it, keep practicing. As David will tell you, let's see, Jen, he looks at what, probably 40, 50 EKGs a day. And you just got to keep looking at them to get good at it.
Cool. All right, Megan, thank you for your words of wisdom and encouragement. What did I tell you guys? Like all of our coaches are amazing. And now you got to meet Megan. So thank you for hopping on tonight, Megan.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and do the arrhythmias. So Megan said, let's just find our, let's talk about some of these rules. So things that come from the atrium. So things that come from the top of the heart, Megan just talked about two of them. She talked about SVT and atrial fib, which is listed here. And you know that already because you know that irregularly irregular is AFib. You also know that atrial flutter comes from the top of the heart. And we talked about last night how the impulse goes from the SA to the AV down the bundles, right? We talked about that. And sometimes, impulses can take a different pathway down. That's called accessory pathways. And that would be more like a Wolff-Parkinson's White. Okay. But we're going to focus on doing a couple more of these arrhythmias tonight so that we're all ready for when Gary comes on to quiz us. So what's this one, you guys? This one's really easy. It's not a trick. What do you guys think?
Sinus, normal sinus?
Yeah, it's not a trick. This is a sinus rhythm. And we know that because it's regular and it has a beautiful P wave and it has a normal PR interval. So that was easy. Good job. All right. So that's what we want to see. And then what about this one? What's happening here?
The sinus pause.
Okay, now we would need a longer strip of this to see what was really happening if this was a pause. And we don't have a longer strip. Let's just say this was the only strip. What we can say is there is some irregularity, right? There's definitely irregularity. And what if I told you that the patient was very young and very athletic and they were breathing when this was taken? Would that change your mind?
Yes, sinus arrhythmia.
Yes, this is none other than sinus arrhythmia. So it is irregular, it is narrow, and it is a normal rate. Okay, so sinus arrhythmia caused by breathing, not something to worry about. Normally, when you see irregularity, you think AFib, but this is not AFib because you can see beautiful discrete P waves. Now, this is known as sinus bradycardia. Okay, and we know that because we're asking our questions of regular versus irregular, wide versus narrow, and fast versus slow. This is definitely slow, and it has a beautiful P and a normal PR. But how can we, as providers, cause this? Does anybody have any suggestions? What can we do?
Beta blockers.
Yeah, very good. Beta blockers. And so beta blockers is one, but there's two other things that we can do to cause this medication-wise.
Calcium channel blockers.
Yes, calcium channel blockers. And the third one is antiarrhythmic drugs. Okay, so we always got to look at the medicines for those three and consider tweaking their meds. Now, the first question, there's two questions we would ask this patient. Do you guys know what they are? We would ask them, other than the meds, do you feel a certain way?
Dizzy.
Yeah. So symptomatic, dizzy, great, fatigue. And also we would ask them about their exercise. What would we ask them? We would ask
some athletes.
Yes, we would ask them if they're athletic. And if
That was
they
Amber.
are, good job, Amber, because if they are, we're not going to do anything about this if they're athletic, because this is a normal response to exercise. Your heart's more efficient. Okay. So what about this one? I'm going to just tell you because we don't have a rate and it's a little borderline, but this is a little fast. It's over 100. So it's a narrow complex over 100.
SVT.
So, right, it could be an SVT, but what heart rate, what's the number we have to see? Over what do we consider SVT?
150.
Yes. And this is not yet 150. And if you had an RCAT badge, you could march this out, but you could also do the rule of 300 on this one. But this has beautiful P's and it's under 150, but over 100. So then what would you call it? I think I heard somebody say it. Sinus tach?
Yeah,
Yes.
sinus tach.
Good. This is sinus tach. And so if that's the case, can you name a couple things that you know can cause sinus tach?
Medications.
Fever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these are all good. So
Sepsis.
what'd you say?
Sepsis. Stress.
Sepsis. Yes. Who said that one? That was a good one.
Infection.
Coffee.
That was Oksana. Anxiety.
Okay, sweet. So yes, these are all good comments. And I think somebody also said hypovolemia. So that was good too. So yes, we're going to look for all these things, but also COVID. Anxiety is also one as well. All right. So what is this rhythm?
Flutter.
Yeah, this is flutter. Good. And so this is atrial flutter. And how do we know that? How do we know this is flutter? What waves are you seeing?
The sawtooth.
Yes, sawtooth. Very good. So are these P waves?
No.
No.
What are they called?
F waves.
F waves. Very good. So what are you going to see with atrial flutter? Yes, sawtooth, Bria. What are you going to see with atrial flutter in the PR interval?
There is no PR interval.
Exactly. So what will the machine do?
I'll give you an asterisk.
Exactly. That must be my girl Esprit. So she's been rocking with us for a while. So you're right. Whoever said no PR interval. And yes, you're going to have an asterisk. So that's a clue for you guys. You see an asterisk, there's no P wave. Okay. And start looking for it. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll start seeing it. It's really kind of cool. Really quick side note on that flutter. Are you at risk for stroke?
Definitely.
Everybody.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of yeses on that one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes. Good job, you guys. A lot of people don't know that. So you guys are way ahead of the curve. They are. So we need to treat them with anticoagulation if they are at stroke risk and they have a high CHADS VASC2 score. Okay. So what's the rhythm here? You guys have seen this tonight, PS.
Looks like second degree heart block.
Okay. So that would require us to have definitive Ps. Do we have definitive Ps?
No.
No.
Okay. If there's no definitive Ps, is it regular or irregular?
Irregular.
Irregular.
Okay. What if I told you there's a star in the PR interval? What would this rhythm be?
Fib.
Good. Yes, this is AFib. Strong work. Now, what is your patient going to say when they have AFib? Can you give me some examples of a complaint they might have?
Short of breath.
Yes, short of breath. Good. Anything else?
Dizzy, lightheaded.
Busy.
Good. Yes, dizzy, lightheaded. What about palpitations?
Yes.
Malina says palpitations.
Palpitation is faster, I would say.
So you can feel palpitations when you're fast, absolutely. But sometimes people feel AFib and they feel it when they're slow. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, it does happen.
Mhm.
All right, good job. Now let's do the junction. So the junction again is narrow complex. It's slow and you don't have any P. Okay. If you do
Right.
have a P, it can sometimes be behind the QRS, called retrograde. And at that point, what node is in charge of the heart?
AV node.
Baby note.
Yep, great. Okay, so the AV node is in charge. And we know that because there's no P, because sinus makes P, and the rate, okay? So now let's do some ventricular stuff. This is idioventricular. We talked about the conduction last night. This is 20 to 40 beats per minute. And we know it's coming from the ventricles because it's wide, over 120, okay?
Mhm.
And it's slow, you may not have a pulse with this. And we did that in our workbook. That was one of our EKGs. Okay, this is also agonal. And
Mhm.
agonal is very slow. And that's when
Dying hard, yeah.
that's when one little heart cell runs the heart at the bottom, and you're not going to have a pulse with this. Okay, so
Mhm.
a wide complex. And then let's talk about these extra beats here. So have an underlying rhythm, but are these extra beats, these PVCs, are they unifocal or multifocal?
Multifocal.
Good, they're multifocal. And why do we know that they're multifocal? Because they are
Don't look alike.
good. That's a great way to say it. They're not coming from the same cell. They do not look alike. So this is more worrisome than unifocal, which look the same. Okay, so that is our session for tonight. This was a little primer to get you ready for the session with Gary. So now you guys are armed and ready. No, I see Robert says dying heart. That's another good way to say it. Now I can see your comments. Does anybody else have any questions that they want to ask before we end tonight? We're going to be doing a giveaway when Gary comes back on. I'll tell you the hashtag and we'll do the giveaway. But in the meantime, that's about 15 minutes from now. Does anybody have questions?
I actually didn't get the last two rhythms. I didn't write them down until I noted later on the day 2 arrhythmia workbook.
Oh,
sheet.
yes. So let me see if I can share that again. I'm sure I can. Let's go back to them. So they are right here.
AFib, sinus arrhythmia, idioventricular. And what is it on the bottom? I can't read it. I'm
You
sorry.
can't read my writing?
Oh, darn. No, your arrow was over it.
No, my writing is awful. This is junctional. Hashtag embarrassed about my writing.
No, don't be.
Okay, that was a good question. Anybody else have questions?
And Tori put in the chat the Zoom meeting for Gary.
Oh, thank you, Tori. That is so helpful. So guys, it's going to be a separate Zoom. And you can also don't have to log on to Zoom. You can watch it in the group, but we'll be back. What is Gary going over? Oh, good question. Good question. Let me tell you what Gary's going over. So
All the stuff.
yes, Gary's session is going to be all basically how the arrhythmia corresponds to the anatomy of the heart. And then he's going to show you a bunch of like live strips going across the screen that are like Hollywood produced videos. So that's why we have him come on, because his quality is so good. And he shows the heart dancing and the conduction moving through. So you can like 3D visualize what's happening. So Amber, he's going to do all basic arrhythmias and it's worth coming. Trust me, girl. All right. So any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to hop off and get you guys ready for the bonus event tonight, Gary. Oh, how long will Gary's session last? I never know, to be honest with you. We just like tell him go and he goes, but they usually last about 45 minutes, but you can just log on and watch what you want to watch and hop off for the rest if it's late for you. So good question. Will they be recorded? No, sadly, Gary does not allow us to record his sessions. That's why we have to make it live. But don't worry, because he does come on again in January with the same session. So if it's too late for you, that's okay. No worries. All right, any other questions, guys? Okay. Hopefully you feel a little bit more confident with the arrhythmias, but after Gary's, you will definitely. So I'll see you back. I'm going to go get him up and ready in our Zoom, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Nice to see your faces.